I am Kamlesh, and working from last 15 years in the Srimati Kishoritai Bhoyar College of Pharmacy. So I just want to always have a question: what the successful people, or what we call as the genius people, they have a common trait. And I read a lot, and I observe a lot them. All the genius person, all the successful person, and what I found is that the very interesting part. And what I found very interesting in them is that they have two things in common. All the successful people, or what you call them as a genius person, they focus, and they focus on one thing. All the successful people, all the genius people, they focus on one thing, and practice. Second trait common to them is the practice. They practice a lot. They update every day. Practicing and updating and focus is the key to success. What I believe and what I learned from them. And some people say that being a hard working is the key to success, but I'm not agree with them that hard working is the key to success. Yes, working very sincerely, working with hard can be a key to success. And the third trait what I learned during my journey, as a teacher or as a human being, what I learned is that they learn to say no. This is very uncommon. From childhood, what is in our mind is that we never say no to anyone, right? Always say yes. This is the conventional the mindset of ours, that we have to say yes to everything. Don't say no to anyone. But what I believe and what I learned from this my journey is that we have to learn how to say no. And this is my topic, today's topic, that how we can learn to say the no. Let me start my saying by the quote of Warren Buffett, the successful entrepreneur, that successful people say no to almost everything. This is something confusing in my mind, how a successful people can say no almost to everything. So I try to find out, why this is so important, and, to learn to say no when we want to be a successful people, or we want to some achiever. For every question in life, what I found is that there are two options. Yeah, whether it will be yes or whether it will be no, right? Whether you will say yes or whether it will be no, and this is conflict. It creates a conflict in our mind, whether to say yes or whether to say no. And this is what decides the difference between the mediocre person and the successful person. When you solve this conflict, when you solve the conflict, you will get the answer whether you said yes rightly or whether you said no rightly, right? And this conflict is the basic differentiate between the people. So we say no or we say yes. What it matters, it doesn't matter. Or what it matters is how many teas have you had with people you didn't want to have tea. हमारी इच्छा नहीं है तो भी हम जाते हैं, चलो आज चाय पीने चलते हैं. नहीं इच्छा, no, I don't want to have tea, but we go, we say yes. Now other question is, how many weddings have you been to that you didn't really want to attend? We attend so many wedding receptions and all that. We did not want to attend, but yes, we say yes. How many hours of tedious meeting have you sat through when you had no real reason to be there? आपके मन में इच्छा है कि I want to say no, but you say yes to them. Now, how many times you bought short of your wife's choice? This is a very unique and very common, that whenever I go to shopping, suppose I want white shirt, I made my mind that I want white shirt today. But when I go, my wife says, no, white doesn't suits you. You take yellow. So ultimately, I have to say no to white shirt and then say yes to yellow shirt. Or vice versa. You can say vice versa. That how many times, as a wife, you go and brought the choice of, no, this is not possible. No, this is not possible. Vice versa is not possible here, because we have to follow the instruction of wives only. So this is a simple question, simple and very tricky question. मेरी इच्छा है मगर मैं नहीं कर पा रहा हूँ, I want to say no, but I always say, oh yes. Why? That is the question. Why I always say yes to many things which I want to say no. Many times I shift from the choice of my food, to my daughter's choice. So very interestingly, I go, with my family for, let's have a, Indian cuisine today. But then my daughter or my son insists me to know, today we want Chinese or we want pizza. So I, turn my car to the Pizza Hut or Domino's. Yeah. So this happens with me many times, that I want to have something and I do something. That is, I want to say no to something, but I say yes to something. Right. So this is why this happens, and this is this is always a curiosity for me, that my mind is saying differently and my what I'm doing is different. Why there is so much of yes in my life, or everyone's life. If you observe your daily routine, or what we call as a year, we say yes, 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 and yes so many times. I don't know, but this is happening with my life, that I say many times yes more than the no. In a survey, it is found, that international survey, that we say yes 82 times in a day and no only 18 times. It means more we say yes to anything which we did not want to do. And this is that is the international survey, that we say yes and we say no. No. And that is, a question in my mind, that why it is hard to say no. It is not, very difficult word. No, it is not difficult word, but why it is so difficult to say. That is a question, and today we will discuss this, why it is very difficult to say and how to, you can learn to say the no and all that part. If you observe, as a child, if you observe any child, they look very happy every day. Now, question is, what makes child, or what makes children happy? Have you ever wondered, why it is easy for them to say, no? Because they always in the happiness era, and they can easily say no. आप भी जब बच्चों के जब भी हम बच्चे थे, हम कोई भी चीज को नहीं बोलते थे, बेटा ये करो, नो आई डोंट वांट, जो मेरा मन है वही मैं करता था, बेटा यू वांट दिस, नो आई डोंट वांट, राइट? It is easy to say no to them, right? That's why they are happy. Have you ever wondered why it was so easy to say no when you were a kid? When we were a kid, we easily say no to anything. I don't want this, I don't want to study, I don't want tea and chawal and all that, I don't want. It was easy to say no at the era when we were kid. Then why it has so become now difficult? The question is continuously hammering in my mind. When we grow up, we try to understand the things better than the children. Then why we, hesitate, or why it is so difficult for us, to say no? What happened? The question arises: what happened with us? What I think is that it is completely and purely related to our sanskars. Sanskar means from childhood, what others told us, that it is not good to say no. It is not in our sanskar. My mother always told me that, beta apne sanskar mein nahi hai kisi ko bade ko nahi bolna. As a children, we learned that saying no was important. It is not inappropriate. Discipline, all that stuff. बड़ा लेक्चर आ जाते हैं, नहीं बोलते बेटा बड़ों के लिए ऐसा करते. So this is imbibe in our mind from childhood, that saying no is a bad thing. Saying no is a bad word, right? So it is all related with what I suppose is discipline, or what I suppose is the sanskar which we imbibe from our childhood, that saying no is the bad word. It is not good to say no, and it is continuously hammering in our mind. It is not good to say no, it is not good to say no, and then we hold on to the childhood belief, and we continue to believe that yes, no is associated with dislike of it. It is associated with the bad, it is associated with the unmannered, it is associated with the unkindness, it is selfishness and all that, right? अगर हम नहीं बोलेंगे तो we are selfish, we are unkind to the others, and this is how we generally brought up, right? And this is the the problem, why we never say no to the unwanted thing. Now, that is why we struggle to say no. As I believe that when we grow up from children 5 to 6 years to 10, 15, then 25, then when we grow up, slowly, we know diminishes and years increases, right? So this is why the basic problem arises in our life, and we will discuss this why with the no can be the problematic in our life. Why we say no, when we grow up. First and foremost is the fear of rejection. There is a fear of rejection. That's why we say yes to everything, which we did not want to do. That is why that is called as the fear of rejection. The first is the fear of rejection. We worry that we will end up being alone, the rejected or abandoned. अगर हम institute में है या कोई workplace में है, if I say no to anybody, my colleagues or anyone, I will be alone. मुझसे बात नहीं करेगा, अगर मैंने नहीं बोल दिया, नहीं help किया, तो I will be rejected or I will be abandoned. Second is anger. It will be in our continuous mind that if I say no, then the wife will be angry or colleague will be angry and all that. Third is because we care, we care about the relationships. We fear of breaking the relationship. यार मेरा दोस्त है, he's my friend. How can I say no to him? If my friend told me to go to movie of the film star which I don't like, but I say yes. Why? Because I care for them. I because of the relationship I say yes. But my mind want to say no, but I say yes. That is the reason, because we care or because of any relationship crisis. Sometimes the peer pressure. That is the basic reason nowadays. Nowadays the peer pressure, because of the peer pressure, friends, I don't want to go, but I have to, because he's my best friend or she's my best friend. That is why we generally do the things we don't want to do in our life. Another factor which is very common is we want to please others. We never say no. Why we never say no? Because we want to please others. Sab push rahe mujhse, and someone will argue with me that what is wrong in saying yes when we keep the people happy. Yes, question is very right. What is wrong in saying yes if the people are happy with us? But believe me, it is very hard to it is very hard pill to swallow. As a pharmacist, I must say that it is very hard pill to swallow that compulsive people pleasing can be a form of manipulation. Remember this thing. When we say yes, and we always believe that I want to make others happy, it is a form of manipulation. Actually, we are manipulating others. Actually, we are manipulating others by saying yes, by pleasing the other. Now, people pleasing are often rooted in your childhood, as I said, in the form of sanskar or what we call the discipline. Rooted, hammered, or it is, it is rooted in our childhood. We can get used to saying yes and pleasing others that we don't even know what we want or what our needs are. हम लोग भूल जाते हैं मुझे क्या चाहिए, but what other want, that is basic concept in our life to please other. But if your life is so tightly packed with others, people request that you don't have the time for what really matters for you. फिर हम हमारे you cannot do the things which you like or according to the the things which matters to you. We want to be a good boy, good person. अगर मैं नहीं बोल दूंगा तो क्या होगा यार, वो उसको लगेगा कि he is a bad person. Saying no, remember, saying no doesn't mean that you are a bad person. But what we believe that अगर मैं नहीं बोल दूंगा, if I am saying no, then he will perceive me as a bad person. And I want always in my life as a goody person, goody one. Yeah, he is a good one. He is a good one. Everyone must say that he is a good one, right? So everyone wants to be in a good book. That's why they say yes more often than no. We think too much about the responses. क्या होगा अगर मैंने नहीं बोल दिया? If I say no, what will happen? A will happen, B will happen, C will happen. Continuously there is a hammering in our mind regarding these responses. यार उसी जोड़ दिया तो क्या होगा? आज वाइफ को नहीं भूल जाओ, क्या हमारे घर में खाना नहीं मिलेगा रात को, ये होगा, इस तरह होगा, ये भी so continuously hammering with the responses, and because of these responses the pressure increases and we say no, right, to the things we don't want. Maybe sometimes it can be a social perception, I don't want to change my social perception. If I am a good person, if socially, if it is that, yes, Dr. Wadher is a good person, I don't want to say no, because of the social perception beliefs, I have to say yes, to something that is unimportant in my life. So there is a famous quote by law that care about what others think and you will always be a prisoner. So no doubt we have to care for others, we live for others, but don't be the prisoner in your life. So my topic is, the conventionally what we learn. The conventionally what we learn is never say no. But I will dare to, say that now we have to learn in this competitive era. In this era, we have to learn to say no. So the topic is from the conventional, never say no to learn to say no. So let us, go with this, why it is very important to say no. What I believe is that every time you say yes to something that is unimportant, you say no to something that is unconsciously. If you say something that is unimportant, important in your life, but at the same time, you are saying no to the things which are not important, in your life. So we have to understand the importance of the urgent and important work, right? So we will discuss in later part what is, how to say learn. So that is my key point here is that we have to say something. We have to say yes to important thing. If you say yes to the unimportant thing, then it will, ultimately say no to the important thing. I agree with you that no sure some people around you might not be happy. They will, have a, different perception of you will not be in a good book of them. Everything is, yes, I agree. But would you rather live your life according to the approval of others or align with your happiness and dreams? Ultimately, as a human being, what I want, as a human being, I want happiness. I have my dreams. I have my goals. I have my, everything. So whether I will live my life according to my rules or policy, or I'm here to make others happy. That is the part which I want to talk. Live your life for not others, for not anyone else. Don't let the fear of being judged, rejected, disliked stop you from yourself. हम लोग जो दिमाग में है माइंडसेट में यार, जज क्या होगा, people will reject me or dislike me, right? So that is the reason why we sometimes say no to the things we do not want to say. Saying no allows you to say yes to what is important to you. That is the basic point, and it creates a space for what matters most for you. The very important aspect is when you say no to something that is unimportant. Remember this: say no to something unimportant, then it can create a space for you, and it matters most of you. Rather than trying in the business like most of us are, we are busy, but how are we, in what work we are busy, I don't know, but we all are busy in, any stuff and all that. So problem of saying yes all the time, there are certain problems which I, observed in my life, or what I learned is that there is a problem of saying yes all the time. I'm not saying you do not say yes, but there is a problem of saying yes to all the time. First is, remember me, there is no such thing as unimportant day. There are only 24 hours in a day. For me, or for the, Mukesh Ambani or anyone, everyone has a 24 hours in a day. And remember this, mark my word, and the best among us are not gifted than the rest. It is not like that the successful person like Mukesh Ambani is having 48 hours in a day, right? He is or she or any successful person, they have the same 24 hours a day, and we have to make our life in that 24 hours. So what happens when we say yes to the something unimportant, or when we say yes to everything, ultimately lead to the business. If you are overcommitted doing the things, if you are saying yes to everyone, if someone comes, will you do this? I will say yes. A become, if he or she says, can you do this? I will say yes. Because of this overcommitment, doing things you don't want to do, you won't have much time left for the yourself. Ultimately what happens? You are doing everything, but nothing. Ultimately, you are doing everything, but productivity is nothing. So that is the biggest problem when you say yes to everything. It may increase the non-productivity. If you have observed yourself, you are busy in unwanted thing, it will lead to the non-productive life. Overburden. Your life will be overburdened. Unnecessary in 24 hours, you are, taking the job of 48 hours. In the 28 hours, if you are taking the job of 48 hours, what happens? The situation will be like this. It will be like hell. People will take you for granted. Ultimately, people will take you for granted. If you say everything, अरे इसको तो कभी भी बोल दो yes. It is like a yes, yes. Yes. It is like people are take you for granted that you have no value. You will say yes everything. And at the end of the day, what happens? Like this situation, if you overburden with the things, if you say yes, to all the things, the situation will be like this. It will be like, jack of all and master of none. You cannot do anything, achievement will be zero. So this is how generally when you say yes to everything, and every day if you say yes to 10 things, out of 10 things, if 9 things are not important, then what happens? The work increases. Ultimately, the concept is that when you say yes to everything, no doubt you are busy. You will be busy throughout the day. Logo ko wow, kya busy hai. He is a busy person. Every time you are busy, hammering here and there and doing something. You are busy, no doubt. But when there are 4 things in a hand at a time, the productivity will be diminished. Believe me, your productivity will be diminished. No doubt, you will be busy person, but productivity will be diminished, and your achievement, if you say, it will like plateau. You will not achieve. You observe this, You observe 2019. If you are doing the things which are not important to you and you believe that you were very busy in 2019, you will find that, achievement will be very less. Until and unless you observe that what is the important task. If you are doing unimportant tasks daily throughout the year, then your productivity will diminish and your achievement will also be diminished. And ultimately it will lead to the stress. As a health profession, as a pharmacist, we know that it is the center of any disorder or diseases. If you say any disease or any disorder, it is already and completely related with the stress disorders, right? Stress is the key point of any disease or disorder. Ultimately, it leads to the stress of work, stress of peer pressure, stress of society and everything. When you have so much of work in your hand at a time, and what happens with this? Because of this stress, your performance, as I said earlier, the performance will decrease. How it will decrease? The stress, when it increases from low to high, because of the unwanted thing you are doing, it will decrease. The performance will decrease. Stress is good. I know that, no doubt. Stress is good. The good stress is for the stress. Yes, it is good, but up to the optimum. If you say here, optimum part, but above that optimum part, your performance will decreases. Yes, worst to the best. The performance will be, no doubt, as I said, you will be busy throughout the day or throughout the year, but performance wise, it will be, achievement wise, performance wise, it will be degraded. Right. So this is how generally, these are the consequences of all the, problems which arise when we say the yes. Now the question or topic is how to learn. Is it very difficult to say no? As I say earlier that it is 2 words and O. It is very simple to say no rather than yes, right? But my question is how to learn, right? Is there any formula? Is there any system? Is there any book? Is there anything from there we can learn how to say no. Let us see how we can learn. You know, to learn to say no is totally depending upon when we have to say no, how to say no, and yes, very important, we have to say no. Ultimately, when you have to say no, you have to understand why I am saying no, where I am saying no, how I can say the no, and where, this is the question, how, what, where, and how I can say the no, right? So what I believe is that it totally depending upon the situation, personal situation. It always depending upon the situation. Where saying no, you cannot, because my situation will be different and your situation will be different, and everyday situation will be different. So you cannot say that this is the basic formula, or this is the basic concept where you can say yes or you can say the no part. It totally depending upon the situation. On the basis of situation, you have to decide. So it totally depending upon the individual decision. What I believe is that saying yes or saying no, I'm not saying that saying yes is a bad, but decision on saying yes and no, it totally depending upon our decision, individual decision. Let me put my word here on individual decision. It will totally depending upon the individual decision, whether I have to say yes, whether I have to say no, and it will depending upon where I am saying yes, no, or to whom I am saying yes. Yes, it also important to whom I am saying yes or to whom I am saying no. It totally depending upon the decision. I have observed this and identified that it totally depending upon the type of work, whether it is important or whether it is urgent. You have learned about so much about these things, about unimportant, important, and urgent and not urgent, right? I'm not going to detail about that, what is urgent or what is important. But when you have to decide whether I have to say yes or whether I have to say no, you have to understand this concept, four quadrants. The first quadrant, is the very important for you. Remember, what I'm saying is ultimately I or we or you. So if it is important for you and it is urgent for you, no doubt you have to say yes. Simple. If it is urgent and important, say yes to everything. No doubt. But if it is, important but not urgent, if it is important for you but not urgent, then you can plan, or you can plan that I will do in next week, or tomorrow I will do. You cannot say no here, but you can plan the things in an appropriate manner, that this is not so urgent, I will do it later. Like for example, if you are doing some office work, and you comes and daddy, next month I will have an exam, and can you give me how to solve this? So this is not urgent. Tomorrow, you can go for that part. So you can say no to child, or you can say no to daughter, that better you will tomorrow we will go with this, and today I have a certain important work. So this is you can plan, instead of denying or instead of saying no, you can plan this. Yeah.
Wadher, sir?
That how is the situation where the situation is very urgent, but not important for you. For example, if you are taking lecture in class, and phone rang and wife said that there is a problem or leakage of the tab and all that. So it is urgent. It is urgent there in home, that what is leaking there, but it is not important that you should go there. So you can phone, or you can delegate the work. You can ring the chowkidar, go and see what happened, or you can phone the plumber, go and fix the problem. So delegate the work. You can say no here. You can I'm busy and doing something, certain things, which is
I think we have some connectivity issue.
This is how
Sir, Wadher sir, can you hear me? Sir, Wadher sir, can you hear me? Please unmute yourself, sir.
Okay. Am I audible?
Yes, there was some connectivity issue from the
Yeah.
time
Sorry for
we
that.
were
There was
discussing the quadrant.
okay. Okay. Am I visible? PPT is visible?
PPT is not visible right now.
Okay. Okay. Is it visible now?
Sir, it's loading.
Okay.
Yes, now visible. Please go ahead.
Okay. Sorry for the disturbance. Okay. Uh, so what I'm trying to say is that it totally depending upon the personal decision, in which quadrant you are facing the problem, whether it is important or whether it is urgent or not. Let me quote one example, my personal example. It is related with my daughter. Yeah, she and she asked me a favor, Daddy, can you give me how to solve this mathematics problem? I have problem, in 2 chapters. So मैं just पढ़ाने बैठा था and my phone rang and my that best friend he called me and बोला कि चलो चाय पीते थोड़ा सा 5-10 मिनट. So मैंने मेरे बच्चे को बोला कि यशिका को बोला just wait for a 5 minute, I will come and I will give you how to solve this problem, and I went. And then बैठे बैठे it went up to 12 o'clock and I went back. मेरी बच्ची सो चुकी थी तब तक. मैं 5 मिनट बोल के गया और इसको कम से कम 1 से 1.5 घंटा लग गया. आते आते दोस्त मिलते गए, बातें होती रही, अनवांटेड थिंग हैपेंड. जब आया तो बच्ची सो गई थी. नेक्स्ट डे में जब बच्ची गई घर पे क्लास में गई तो वही 2 चैप्टर जो मैं नहीं पढ़ा पाया तो उसके ही पूरे सम्स आए एंड शी गॉट 11 मार्क्स आउट ऑफ 30. शी क्राइड अ लॉट. देन आई रियलाइज मैंने नहीं क्यों नहीं बोला मेरे फ्रेंड्स को. व्हाई I denied them. Why I can't say no to them. मुझे मेरी इच्छा थी कि मैं बच्चों को पढ़ाऊं, but I said yes to the unwanted thing, unimportant thing. Ultimately, I said no to important thing. So this is, I learned that saying very important in life. To take the decision when to say is really very important. And this is, there is a really very conflict. Every time there is a conflict between, house, family, and the workplace. There is always a conflict between where to take decision. About where we work and family. So many times this conflict was whether to say yes to work, whether we have to say yes to family. Let us take an example. The example of boss and wife. Whether we can say where we can say yes or where we can say no. Suppose there is an important work in the college, and this is a trigger point, the last moment that you have to submit certain thing, and you promised your wife that evening we will go for shopping. Now you have promised your wife that we will go for the shopping, and urgently some work came in the college, and you have to reside there for for 8 or 9 o'clock. So what to do? In this situation, yes, we have to go with the no to the wife. in this situation, say no to wife. No, I'm not, able to come. There is a certain point. Or vice versa. Suppose the situation changes and certain family members, there is a certain problem in the family member, and boss told you to take certain extra lecture or viva, but there is a urgently need of yours in the home because your certain crisis is there. So you can politely say no to your boss. Saying no is not a bad word.
Sir, Wadher sir, can you hear me?
Yes, madam.
Sir, some participants are messaging that the voice is breaking. So for like a few moments till the range stabilizes, please allow me to stop your video for some time.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. Now, sir, please continue. Hello, sir.
Okay. Am I audible now?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Right. So what I'm trying to see that saying no is not a bad word. Both your boss and your wife loves you. If you say no, they can understand, why you are saying no. They can understand. There is no matter of fear with the wife or fear with the boss. They love you and they understand that why he or she is saying no, right? So this is no basic conflict we generally come with the work and family place. Say no to the things that drain you or distract you. Always say no. Certain things will distract you, or certain things which drains you. Always say no to them. Like, going for a film, if they are distracting you, watching a film in the Netflix or Facebook and all that, say no to things that drains or distract you. You can set, specific boundaries regarding what you will and you will not agree to do. There should be certain boundaries, personal boundaries, what I want to do and what I don't want to do. Know your value. As I said earlier, the very important aspect is if you say every time yes, it will create a problem. Know your value. Learning to say no is realizing that you are not, you are valuable and choosing your own opinion about yourself and over the others. If you live your life depending on the others, people's approval, you will never feel free and truly happy. Remember this, that is the power of saying no, that if saying no makes you happy, yes, you go with the no. Another is what makes you happy. When to say no. What you're doing, what you can do, and what you are actually doing. Very important aspect is what you are doing, what you can do, and what you are actually enjoying doing. So you have to say no to the things which makes you, unhappy. Unhappy means, you know, uh, you don't want to do those type of thing, and that make them, make you unhappy. Consider that you are reasonable able to do, and what you actually enjoy. You can say no to the thing that drains you or distracts you. You can set the specific boundaries, and learning to say no is a deciding if saying yes is really worth it. Really worth it if I'm saying yes, or I can say no. The very important aspect is health first. Before saying or deciding whether I have to say yes or whether I have to say no, the very important aspect is we have to understand that you always have a right to turn down an invitation or refuse a favor. It's okay to make yourself and your mental health priority. अगर आपको हेल्थ से रिलेटेड है, आपको लगता है कि नहीं मैं ये नहीं कर पाऊंगा, या it is overburdening me, the work is overburdening me, say no, because your health is first. Healthy body, healthy minds, it will lead you to the healthy, right? So health first, and then on the basis of this, you have to decide. There are, let me quote one example of my friend. He is suffering from spondylitis, right? एंड उसके बॉस ने उसको वही काम किया कि आप पूरा कंप्यूटर में मुझे पूरा डाटा भर दे, 1 महीने का काम है पूरा, वो नहीं बोल पाया. पण स्पॉन्डिलाइटिस का प्रॉब्लम था, एंड ही डेली वर्क 12 आवर 4 आवर 14 आवर्स इन द कंप्यूटर, एंड द सिचुएशन worsen, and hospitalized, and then operation and all that. So health first. Your boss respects you, loves you, he know why you are saying no. Give them politely that this is the problem, this is the situation, and that's why I'm politely refuse the things and all. A very important aspect is think before, think twice before you say yes. हम लोग क्या करते हैं, जनरली किसी ने बोला ये कर देंगे यार, without thinking we say, oh yeah, no problem. Think twice whether you can do, you love to do, or what is the importance of that doing, right? So this is the important aspect. Ask for more time before committing. Very important aspect. Before committing, before saying yes, always say yes. Always say that let me think, or let me have more time before committing that I'm saying yes to. Uh, Mark my word that your days are your life in miniature. As you live your hours, you create your years. हमको लगता है कि 1 घंटा तो है. किसी ने if my friend asks me, चलो चाय पीते या नाश्ता करने चलते, 1 घंटे का बर्बाद होगा, कुछ नहीं होता है. But believe me that as you live your hours, you create your years, and as you live your years, you create your life. That 1 hour which we think that it is unimportant can be important hour for you. What you do today is actually creating your future. Every minute, every second, every day is countable, and it is important for you. Now 25 years or 20 years from now, you will be disappointed by the things you didn't do than the things you did. Why this, I'm quoting this here, that because हम लोग वही करते भी जो हमको करना नहीं है. We are saying yes to the unimportant and useless thing, and you are doing the things which we do not want to do. Then after 20 years, we will repent on the thing. यार मैंने क्यों किया यार, वो मुझे करना नहीं था, मैंने क्यों किया. 20 years from now, you will be disappointed or repent on the thing you did not do than the things you did. So go ahead, stretch today, learn to say no. That do whatever you want to do. That is one thing is very important here, is that I am not a different. Everyone has a going through the same. We are human beings. We are going through the same crisis. Whether to say yes, whether to say in a diamond and everything. I have my own struggles, I have my frustrations. I have all my fears. But along with this, I have my hope. I have my goals and my dreams. And when you set your goals, when you set your happiness parameter, when you set your dreams, it is very easy to understand when, in which part we have to say yes, and in which part we have to say no. To start reclaiming your time and your mental well-being by saying no more, tune into what you really want, and consider what you are reasonably able to do. Right? We have to understand what we are enjoying, and what we enjoy or reasonably able to do, and what you actually enjoy doing. So learning to say, not deciding if saying yes is really worth it. So what I'm trying to say is that before committing, before saying, or before taking more and more work, we have to understand what is the importance of that work, whether saying yes is worth or not. So I will conclude my saying by saying that learn to say no and avoid hearing no. Right? So this is the two concepts that we have to learn: how to say no and avoid hearing no. If someone said that you cannot do this, if I'm saying that I want to be entrepreneur, so someone said no, you cannot, so avoid hearing that no. Learn to say no and avoid hearing no. So this is the concept by which we can what I learned from many, observing the many successful persons or genius person, that they have after the other part, that is what I call as the hard work, what we call as the focus or learning discipline, the one thing they have common is they learn how to say no. And this is the basic concept. So I have more 40 to 50 slides, and I have 1 more hours to go. Can we go for 1 more hour? Everyone is saying no. Okay, now you learn to say no, right? So so this is a basic concept which I believe, and which I want to share with you. So thank you so much for listening me patiently. Thank you so much.
Okay, if we will have we have any question, or anybody wants to directly interact with sir, the portal is open. Like you can ask in the chat box or raise hands or let us know. We will unmute you. Sir, we have a question in the chat box. If you can see.
Okay.
I'll read out. It is in case of bullying, shall we say no?
In where?
Bullying. In case of bullying.
Why cannot you can say no? Yes, we can. We have to say. We have to say no. कोई भी situation नहीं है. Why we say yes? As I already mentioned, we say yes only because of certain social pressure or peer pressure or pleasing other or हमको नहीं बोलना है. We want to say no, but we say yes, right? So we have to say no, but it depends on the personal decision level. We have to understand whether it is worth to say yes or worth to say no. Then we can decide. It is not that Kamlesh is saying that say no to everything, then you are saying no to everything. No, it depends on the personal your space where you are comfortable. If you are comfortable in saying yes, say yes. If you are comfortable, you are happy in saying no, say no. What I'm trying to say here is don't fear to say no. But you can say yes, you can say no. It all depending upon the personal situation and decision.